Hey guys, check it out. This is our first look at the new Cadillac Optiq-V. And the Optiq is, of course, Cadillac's entry-level electric car. But when you add the V for $68,000, you turn kind of a mundane electric car, a Model Y performance competitor, into something much more, because this car, get this, has 650 pound-foot of torque and over 500 horsepower. Now, this is my first time looking at the car, so we're going to kind of go and discover it together. So let's talk about styling. It's a little bit of a miniature Lyriq-V, and if you look over there, you can see what the Lyriq-V looks like. That's Jordan from Out of Spec doing his review of it, and this is kind of a smaller, more compact version of that, and I like it. I like Cadillac's new design language. I like the fact that it's kind of bold and it's kind of in your face. It's got kind of these, I don't know if that's real or fake carbon fiber, but it does look purposeful, and it should, especially because this thing is just stuffed full of horsepower. So first question I have, among, I'd say about 5 critical ones, is there a frunk? And I have no clue, but we're about to find out. And the answer is no frunk and no cover. And that's kind of a shame. I always kind of think a frunk says a lot about the engineering of a car, that they've actually taken the time to give you a little bit of space. I'm not saying it's very useful, but it's much nicer than this kind of, you know, very copious use of very orange cables, which always scare me because you know they have enough power to fry you. But that's neither here nor there. I suppose what's more important is what kind of tires it's riding on. So here we're looking at Continental Sport Contacts. These are, what are those? 275/40/21s. So very beefy and meaty tires. And when you're going to put that much power through the front and rear wheels, because this is an all-wheel drive car, you're going to have some meaty rubber and some big old brakes. So wahoo for that. The next question I have is, as you know, NACS, North American Charging Standard, or in other words, the Tesla standard, has become the standard. So do we have NACS or CCS? And the answer is, look at that, we have NACS, which is great, because that means that you have access to the Tesla charging network, which is the most reliable and the biggest network in America. So wahoo, good for Cadillac for going to NACS. There it goes. All right, let's check out the interior. Cole, you want to jump in on the other side? Now, this is, like I said, our first look. We don't get to drive this, but we do get to experience it. And this is, in a lot of ways, a baby CTS-V. Very similar layout, giant screen, real controls over here for your HVAC. Let me turn the fan down so it's not so loud. Real controls over here for your seats, and then these kind of haptic controls on the steering wheel. If you have a Lyriq, or if you've sat in a Lyriq, this will look very familiar, except of course for this very blue interior. We also have headlights that are now incorporated into the screen, which I have to say I don't love. I like real buttons for that. So it's kind of a mixed bag in here. I do like the use of this kind of interesting material. I always like when manufacturers do something different. Not a big fan of the chrome. I know it's, you know, a Cadillac tradition, but unfortunately don't love chrome, don't love haptic controls. But you do have 2 ways to control the screen. You have this rotary knob for all you knob lovers. Sorry, that's a bad joke. And of course you have a regular touchscreen. The seats are comfortable, giant, of course, as is the way with all electric cars. Moonroof. This car comes equipped with Chevys, GMs, Cadillacs, yada, 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 GMCs, Super Cruise. And I have to say, having used Super Cruise, it is one of the best systems around for autonomous or near autonomous driving. It works very well. It does things like automatic lane changes, and every week or month they keep increasing the mapping of the Super Cruise highways and byways so that it just keeps getting better and better. And I'm glad that they have it here. So yeah, comfortable seats, a little bit too much chrome for my liking, big fat steering wheel, too much haptic controls. But you know, it seems like a very nice place to spend some time. Let's jump in the back and see how much room your rear seat passengers have. And the answer is blue. No, that's not the answer. That's a different question. What color is the interior trim? And it's blue. And actually, I like this blue. Look at this, plenty of legroom, sufficient headroom for somebody who's 6'2". Seats are comfortable. You do have heated seats back here. You do have, thank you GM, vents for rear seat passengers. I like these scalloped seats with this pocket back here. It even feels sporty sitting in the back. And look at these seats in the front. Holy cow, do those look sporty. Yeah, GM has done a good job in making the back seats even feel and seem sporty, which is, not easy to do. We have a big old spoiler back here, dare I say ducktail, and another spoiler up here, so dual spoilers. So, if you're on the road and you're lining up against a Cadillac Optiq, you'll know that it's the V just by looking at the spoilers. Now, I don't know how you open that. That is a mystery that I have yet to solve. Like I said, this is my first look at the car. Figured it out. You push the Cadillac emblem. I've earned my journalistic automotive drink for tonight because I figured it out without too much of a struggle. Back here you have your charger. Doesn't look like there's a spare tire, unfortunately, but you do have these little hooks in case you're on the track and you need to get pulled out. I don't think I'd take this on the track, but somebody might. Lots of room back here. Seems very plentiful, and I like this diffuser back here. That looks very aggressive and very purposeful. Now overall, this is the Cadillac of entry-level sports SUVs, and the question of course is, how does it stack up to something like the Tesla Model Y, which it will compete with directly, especially the Model Y Performance? And the answer is, that is something we're going to have to figure out once we actually get behind the wheel and are able to drive it. Like I said, this is about, I'm going to say 13,000, and correct me if I'm wrong, more than the standard Optiq. This is a 2026 model, and this is something that if you want a little bit of your lead in your pencil, if you want a little caffeine in your coffee, if you want a little bit of fun on your way to work, this is certainly a car that will do that. Now you might be wondering, shouldn't this car be quicker from 0 to 60 than the Lyriq-V, which does it in 3.3 seconds, because this has more torque? And yes, it seems counterintuitive, but acceleration is really more about torque than about horsepower. And the answer is no. According to Cadillac, this will do 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. A little different battery, a little bit more power, more voltage in the Lyriq than this one. We're looking at, I think, about 280-ish miles of range on the Optiq-V, same thing for the Lyriq-V. So, right about where we should be in terms of electric cars of today. But as you know, there's a lot more electric cars coming out now where 500 miles of range is becoming the new standard. The new BMW Neue Class will have 500 miles of range. And so I kind of feel like they haven't future-proofed it, but for today, this seems to be right about where the market is at. So let me know in the comments below. Is this something that you would spend $68,000 on, or is this something you would lease and maybe wait a couple of years and buy, at a discounted rate? Because of course, electric cars have been depreciating rather rapidly. As always, this is Roman saying thanks for watching, and thanks for checking out this first look at the brand new 2026 Cadillac Optiq-V. We'll see you next time. Ciao.